So hey everybody, good to see you all again. I'm just in the Elektrozavodskaya region of Moscow. Yesterday I posted some pictures and images of the Moscow city area and the huge amounts of construction that are going on down there. This boom in building, particularly in the commercial and residential areas, and it's happening all over Moscow. But some of the comments, this determination to refuse to believe the reality of what's actually happening in Russia, it's remarkable. And I suppose people have been so bombarded with propaganda and this billion-dollar machine to convince them that Russia is their enemy, that anything that comes out of Russia must be untrue. Even, of course, dead Russian composers, writers now seem to be the enemy, alongside the Soviet soldiers and Ukrainian soldiers and Polish soldiers who fought the Nazis as they ripped down the monuments to those brave men and women. But here again in Elektrozavodskaya, huge amount of building going on around this part of the city. You can see, it's not isolated or, in any way sort of limited to one particular part of the city. This is happening across the outskirts of Moscow and in the other big Russian cities. So again, urge people to seek out the sources of their news, of what's happening around the world, and ask the question, who wants you to believe this messaging about Russia, the messaging about China? And I think you'll find it's usually quite desperate politicians in quite dysfunctional European countries who are failing their people in everything from housing to health, particularly in my own country in Ireland. An abject failure of a state in many ways. Tens of thousands of people on housing waiting lists, thousands of Irish children homeless. While yesterday I think Ireland said it was going to guarantee the security status of Ukraine. Ireland, with its tiny defence budget, tiny, highly dysfunctional military, a militia essentially, yet queuing up to try and score brownie points with their UN bosses, or their EU bosses, excuse me, and falling over themselves to welcome a sadly demented American president to a very dysfunctional country. So seek out the sources of news. Seek out the reality of what's actually happening on the world. Think for yourselves. Thanks for listening. Talk to you soon.